Chapter 11 officially entered the Hong Kong stock market. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Kayla went to the office and quickly called another stockbroker, who was also a trader from their Huifeng Securities Company, to give Yang Ming some advice. Mr. Yang, this is Mr. Allman, our company's gold medal trader, and also our company's stockbroker. If you don't know what stocks to buy, you can listen to Mr. Allman's advice first. Yang Ming saw this blonde man in his 30s who looked like a young man from country Y. He was wearing a suit and his face looked very humble. However, he was also a little arrogant when Kayla introduced his identity just now. After all, in terms of finance, country Y has always dared to say that it is the first, and no one dares to say that it is second. Even the finance of country M, and now Xiangjiang finance, were created by country Y. He gave advice to those clients. As a trader, his return rate so far has exceeded 10%. Mr. Allman, what if I want to do a short-term operation? Mr. Yang, short-term stock trading is very risky, but it is quite exciting. After my observations these days, I think I can buy some real estate stocks in Xiangjiang. Short-term investment is inherently risky, quick in, quick out. Ordinary investors do not dare to make short-term investments. For example, the later stock god Buffett only holds long-term investments because short-term investments are too risky and Buffett will not do these things. For example, Buffett can only sell stocks after holding them for at least a few years. It is impossible to buy them today and sell them today. Basically, short-term stock trading is similar to those of crazy gamblers. Li Yufang on the side was also a little anxious when she heard this. When she was about to say something, her husband Yang Jirong held her hand. When Yang Ming heard Oman talking about real estate stocks, Yang Ming smiled, because judging from the stocks he saw last night, those real estate stocks were basically falling. If he were to buy real estate stocks and then hold them in the short term, he would definitely lose money. Mr. Allman, I don't buy real estate stocks. Moreover, I have already made my decision on which stocks to buy. You can just buy them as I say. Oman and Kira were both surprised. At this time, Yang Ming took out a piece of paper from his body. This was the exact stock he copied from the newspaper last night. Among them, some stocks are already rising, like these. He just crossed them out. There are still dozens of stocks that are rising. Mr. Yang, what are you doing? The 15 million Hong Kong dollars, according to the current list, buy them one by one for me immediately. Nowadays, the market value of many companies, although many of them exceed 15.5 million yuan, is impossible for him to buy them all at once. He does not want them all to become shareholders. If it is dispersed into dozens of stocks, 15.5 million Hong Kong dollars is not a lot. On average, it is only a few 100,000 Hong Kong dollars. Mr. Yang, do you really follow this? Oman asked, still in disbelief. Yes, buy now and sell when. Just follow my instructions. At this time, the time has reached 10:23 in the morning, which is almost an hour before the morning stock market trading. For Yang Ming, every minute is money now, although at this time, Yang Ming just wanted to give it a try. Based on the stocks on Yang Ming's paper, Oman began to buy these stocks through phone calls. Basically, they range from 300,000 to 500,000 Hong Kong dollars. After some operations, the time came to 10:50 in the morning. At this time, these stocks began to rise to varying degrees. According to the current daily trading volume of the Hong Kong stock market, which is about 100 million Hong Kong dollars, Yang Ming bought 15.5 million Hong Kong dollars, accounting for almost 1/10 of the quota, which is naturally a lot. If it is higher, the risk will be greater. Yang Ming knew the result in advance and it was a sure win. And if his 300,000 to 400,000 Hong Kong dollars were invested in these stocks and spread evenly, the risk would naturally be reduced. If each stock is raised to 1 million Hong Kong dollars, or even 2 to 3 million Hong Kong dollars, then he may really become a long-term shareholder by then. Kayla and Oman were there to pay attention to which stocks Yang Ming had bought. Through the landline phone, they could know the current rise and fall at any time. Yang Jirong looked calm, but Li Yufang felt like she was sweating all over and was frightened. She and her husband had struggled for more than 20 years but had not earned that much of the 15 million yuan. Now, her son had suddenly entered the stock market. How could she not be worried? At this time, he was wearing sunglasses, so others couldn't see his eyes, so they didn't know what he was thinking. Without this information that predicts the future, he certainly wouldn't dare to guarantee it. It's different now. When you are given answers to copy, if you copy them all wrong, then you can only say that he is a fool. Oman and Kira contacted the other party on the phone from time to time. To both Oman and Kayla's surprise, the stocks that Yang Ming just bought were basically rising. Among them, several stocks began to rise to around 25% or even 30%. Mr. Yang, some stocks have risen by more than 25%. I suggest selling them immediately. Alman said. Mr. Alman, don't worry, it's still early. Although Xiangjiang is a T+0 transaction, where you can buy and sell at any time, the trading volume in the morning was not very large, and it really started shortly after the market opened in the afternoon. Moreover, according to Yang Ming's understanding, it seems that it is not enough now, because Yang Ming knows that among the hundreds of stocks listed in Xiangjiang, hundreds of them have begun to rise. Yang Ming selects a group of stocks that have risen relatively high, and the risk seems to be much lower. It has only risen 25% now, which in Yang Ming's opinion is really not that good. After all, during the craziest times, some stocks even soared by 200%. The time entered at 11:26 a.m., which was about half an hour before the end of mid-morning trading. Yang Ming asked Oman and Kayla to start selling some as he said, these stocks are basically stocks that have risen by more than 80%. For example, he bought one of the public investments for 500,000 Hong Kong dollars, and now it has risen to 900,000 Hong Kong dollars. When he sold it, in addition to commissions and taxes, he made almost more than 300,000 Hong Kong dollars. This is just one of the stocks, others will naturally make a lot of money as well. It's just that this is not a bull market after all, and there are really not many people who can make a few times the profit. Soon, 8 stocks were sold, in addition to repaying the capital of 3.5 million Hong Kong dollars. It also made a profit of 3 Hong Kong dollars million. This not only surprised Oman and Kayla, but also stunned Xiangjiang and Li Yufang. In just one morning, or more than an hour, Yang Ming made a profit of 3 million Hong Kong dollars in the stock market just relying on 8 stocks. In this era, it is indeed very crazy. Chapter 12 Crazy Profits in the Stock Market. You are listening at novelfull.audio. From 12 o'clock noon to 1300 hours p.m., it is the noon market break time, which is specially used for stock market traders and investors to have lunch and rest. Huifeng Bank staff have their own working meals, and even provide working meals to special VIP customers. Yang Ming and his parents were preparing to go out for a meal. Miss Kayla, Mr. Alman, I'll come back in the afternoon. When Li Yufang pushed Yang Ming out, Kayla and Oman still looked at Yang Ming leaving in surprise. They have been working in the stock market for many years, especially Oman, who has been working in this industry for many years. He first worked in London, and because the salary here was higher than that in London, it was the first time he came to work in Xiangjiang. Short-term investors like Yang Ming was wearing sunglasses just now, and he couldn't see the young man's eyes clearly. However, judging from the fact that he was sitting in a wheelchair, he seemed to be very confident. Li Yufang pushed Yang Ming out. Daddy, Mommy, I want to eat nearby. No problem at all. Just now, Yang Ming earned 3 million Hong Kong dollars, which is more than they have earned in more than 10 years. When the couple pushed Yang Ming to a nearby high-end Western restaurant, Yang Ming had just been pushed in by Li Yufang, and the young waitress inside had already come out to help. Hello, who are you? Free. Sir, please come this way. The waitress led the way, and Yang Ming and the 3 of them were taken to a place by the window. When Yang Ming sat down at the side, Xiangjiang and Li Yufang sat across from each other, looking at their precious son. The couple suddenly discovered that their son seemed to be a little different after he woke up. Mommy, Aizhu is home alone, will you wait for us to go back for lunch? Peter, you are right. It seems I should give her a call. Li Yufang went to the front desk of the restaurant to make a call. By this time, the waitress had brought the menu. Among the messages left by Yang Ming in his previous life, there were very few about going out to eat with his parents. Now it is rare to take them to have a Western meal. When Li Yufang came back, Yang Ming said, Mommy, Daddy, you can eat or drink whatever you want. This kid. Xiangjiang and his wife came from poor families, so they were relatively economical, but they spent a lot on Yang Ming. From Yang Ming's study abroad to Yang Ming's medical treatment, all the wealth accumulated in the past 10 years has probably been spent. Li Yufang looked at the menu there and knew that her son had been studying in London for a long time, so she thought that her son must like to eat Western food. After Li Yufang ordered it for Xiangjiang and her son, she ordered it herself. The Western restaurant seems very quiet. In fact, at a glance, it is basically all white people sitting in their seats and talking. In Xiangjiang, before the 1970s, the world was dominated by the 4 major foreign companies and even white people. The elite executives in every industry were monopolized by white people. Starting from the 1970s, Chinese and Chinese-owned businesses in Hong Kong began to gradually rise. However, it was only after foreign companies such as Hutchison Whampoa and Wharf were gradually swallowed up by Chinese capital that Chinese capital truly surpassed white capital. These white people are still the elite in Xiangjiang. They monopolize various high-paying industries in Xiangjiang. Their income is naturally relatively high, and they can naturally enjoy the high-end Western food here for lunch. Yang Ming did not take off his sunglasses. Through the sunglasses, he could see the white people clearly. Although I don't know what those white people were talking about there, Xiangjiang and his wife were very happy because their son had just earned 3 million Hong Kong dollars. However, there were so many outsiders here that it was difficult for them to talk about it. In Li Yufang's eyes, he looked at this precious son with doting look on his face. When steak, borscht, spaghetti, etc. were delivered one after another, Yang Ming began to taste them with his parents. In his previous life, Yang Ming had tasted all kinds of delicacies. No matter what he eats, in his opinion, it is just that. Now his body has not fully recovered and needs a lot of nutrients and even meat. To help him recover, Yang Ming was slowly cutting the steak there. Li Yufang originally wanted to help, but Yang Ming said, "Mommy, I can do it by myself." Now that there were so many people watching outside, he couldn't let Li Yufang feed him like he did in the hospital, but when Yang Ming picked up the knife and fork, it still felt a little difficult. Yang Ming's fingers are a bit long and thin, but they don't seem to have shrunk much. It's just because of a long period of lack of exercise that it's not very convenient to use them now. Yang Ming spent 40 minutes, this lunch was finally settled. At this time, the time came to 12:55 noon, 5 minutes before the stock market opened in the afternoon. Xiangjiang and Li Yufang were a little anxious, but seeing that their son was eating slowly just now, they didn't dare to rush him. Yang Ming's money was still in the stock market. Just after Yang Ming finished eating, Li Yufang had already waved to the waiter, who came to pay the bill. Because I didn't drink red wine, the total cost was 158 Hong Kong dollars. In addition, Li Yufang tipped another 20 yuan, which totaled 178 yuan. At this time, the per capita salary in Hong Kong is 2,000 Hong Kong dollars, but the income of many people may only be more than 1,000 Hong Kong dollars. A Western meal is equivalent to 1/10 of an ordinary person's salary, which is naturally not low. Li Yufang pushed the wheelchair and left here with Xiangjiang. When returning to Huifeng Bank, the time came to 13:18 p.m. The stock market has been open for 18 minutes in the afternoon. Although Oman and Kayla have been paying attention to the stocks that Yang Ming bought in the morning, Yang Ming is not here, and they cannot handle it without authorization. When they saw Yang Ming's figure, both of them breathed a sigh of relief. "Mr. Yang, you are here just in time. Several stocks have risen a lot." Yang Ming took a look at the stocks he bought. He already knew which stocks they were. Next, Yang Ming started selling big. From 13:30 p.m. until about 15:15 p.m., he kept selling. Among the stocks sold, 3 of them rose by more than 120%, and most of the remaining stocks rose by around 80%. After all, in addition to the 12 million Hong Kong dollars in capital recovery, another 10 million Hong Kong dollars in profits were made. However, leaving aside commissions and taxes, there was still a net profit of more than 9 million, calculated in this way. In the morning and afternoon, a total profit of 13 million Hong Kong dollars was made. I invested 15.5 million principal and made a profit of 1,300 Hong Kong dollars, which is an approximate return rate of 84%. Because the Hong Kong stock market is still in a bear market at this time and is not in a bull market, in the eyes of Oman and Kira, this rate of return is already extremely outrageous. Mr. Yang, you are so awesome. You made more than 13 million Hong Kong dollars in profit in one day, with a return rate of nearly 85%. Kayla said with great admiration. As for the look, Oman looked at Yang Ming, from the arrogance at the beginning, to now he didn't know whether it was admiration or something else, because he really couldn't believe that such quick short-term operations were very risky. Unless it was in the global bull market, he could make a lot of money by buying with his eyes closed, but the return rate would be 10% at most. Just left and right. How could it be like now, when Yang Ming's short-term investment return rate actually reaches about 85%, moreover, the current transaction volume of the Hong Kong stock market is around 100 million Hong Kong dollars, but today Yang Ming made a profit of more than 13 million Hong Kong dollars, which is indeed an extraordinary operation. Chapter 13 Like Picking Up Money. You are listening at novelfull.audio. At this time, there is still half an hour before the end of trading in the Hong Kong stock market today. In Yang Ming's opinion, this half hour was almost junk trading time, and he was basically preparing for the stock market tomorrow. Yang Ming's profit just now was just a test for him to enter the stock market. Unexpectedly, it was just as he expected, with a profit of more than 85%. This means that Yang Ming's principal is already nearly 28 million Hong Kong dollars at this time. In the eyes of account manager Kayla and trader Alman, this is already extraordinary. Li Yufang also felt that her son would give up when he was ready. After all, what Yang Ming earned in one day was already a wealth that many people could not earn in a lifetime. Oman suggested from the side, Mr. Yang, I suggest you buy some stocks now and sell them tomorrow. Because Xiangjiang stock market trading is a T+0 trading method, during the stock market trading period, you can buy and sell at any time. Many investors buy on the same day and sell on the same day. Of course, there are also some investors who buy before the end of stock market trading to prepare for tomorrow's stock market trading. Yang Ming said, Mr. Oman, I'll come back tomorrow morning. When Yang Ming was about to leave, Kira and Oman saw Yang Ming out in person. At this time, the young man Yang Ming, who was sitting in a wheelchair and wearing sunglasses, seemed a bit mysterious to the two of them. When Yang Ming and his parents came to the car, along the way, Li Yufang was still shocked and even a little thrilling when she thought of today's stock market transaction. However, she found that her son always seemed very calm. Peter, are you really going to enter the stock market again tomorrow? Mommy, for me, the stock market is like picking up money. Of course it will come. And for my business, of course it won't work if I don't have larger funds. Xiangjiang drove his son Yang Ming back to the community, and he returned to Honghu Electric Fan Company first. Azu, who had been upstairs, saw the young master and Mrs. Yang finally coming back, and hurriedly came out to help push Yang Ming in. Yang Ming entered his guest room. Master, let me get you a glass of water. Yang Ming sat in the wheelchair and looked out the window. For him today, there was nothing on the surface, but he was still a little excited inside. After all, he used to take a lot of risks to make a lot of money, but now he can make a lot of money just lying down. I'm afraid nothing is easier than this. Azu, I'm going to buy groceries later, so I'd better buy some newspapers. Yes, master. Azu and Li Yufang went shopping for groceries. At around 6 o'clock in the evening, Azu brought back some newspapers and periodicals for today. Among them, Yang Ming looked through the financial edition of the evening news of the Hong Kong Business News, which included reports on today's Hong Kong stock market transactions and predictions for tomorrow's Hong Kong stock market. Yang Ming directly saw the rise and fall of the stocks in the stock market tomorrow, and the above specifically mentions which stock will rise tomorrow and how many points it will rise. Yang Ming just needs to take a pen and write it down on paper. It was around 7 o'clock that night. Xiangjiang came back to have dinner together. After dinner, Yang Ming went back to his room first, have a night's rest. Early the next day, when Li Yufang and Azu made breakfast and Yang Ming accompanied his parents to finish breakfast, Xiangjiang asked, Peter, are you going to stock stocks today? Yes, Daddy. More than 20 million Hong Kong dollars. Is it much? Of course it's a lot, but for Yang Ming's plan, it's far from enough. Xiangjiang and his wife accompanied Yang Ming down. When Yang Ming got into the car, they took the car to the Huifeng Bank branch in Central. Yang Ming had just arrived here, and when Li Yufang pushed him in with a wheelchair, account manager Kayla, stockbroker and trader Oman, as well as Huifeng Bank's Central Branch General Manager Ridwan and a female assistant were all waiting for him. At first, other customers queuing up in the business hall, including ordinary citizens of Xiangjiang, were still wondering who these people were waiting for. Who would have thought that they were waiting for a young man wearing a suit jacket, pure white trousers, and a pair of sunglasses? Although he was sitting in a wheelchair, when he looked at this young man, he felt like he was just like other ordinary people. It's really different. While they were discussing who this young man was, Miss Kayla and Mr. Oman hurried over to greet Yang Ming when they saw him coming. "Hello, Mr. Yang." After Yang Ming greeted them, Yang Ming was already pushed to the securities company's office. It was just 9 o'clock in the morning. The Xiangjiang stock market transaction is a period of bidding and buying and selling, which is of little significance to Yang Ming. What Yang Ming thinks of is that the trading in the Xiangjiang stock market is now limited after all. The daily trading volume fluctuates around 100 million Hong Kong dollars. No matter how huge his funds are, he may not be able to buy them all. Today is the same as tomorrow, just by about 15 million Hong Kong dollars. There is no use buying too much. "Mr. Yang, I wonder which stocks you want to buy today." Mr. Oman originally wanted to recommend some stocks to Yang Ming that they had researched. Thinking of Yang Ming's outrageous trading methods yesterday, I was afraid that Yang Ming would not accept his suggestion. "Whatever stock to buy today, I already have it here." Yang Ming took out a piece of paper with the stocks written on it. "The stocks you buy today are different from most stocks yesterday, only a few stocks are the same." After Oman and Kira saw it, they started to buy according to Yang Ming's instructions. Yang Ming and his mother Li Yufang were sitting there. The female assistant of General Manager Wan Deli had personally brought coffee to Yang Ming and Li Yufang. Yang Ming drank coffee and occasionally talked to his mother. Before the stock market bidding ended, Yang Ming had bought all the stocks, and still spent almost 15 million Hong Kong dollars. Then, Yang Ming just needs to sit there. At 9:45 a.m., Oman had noticed that several of the stocks bought by Yang Ming were rising rapidly. "Mr. Yang, there are a few stocks that are rising very fast. Do you want to sell them?" "Sell." Soon, Oman followed Yang Ming's instructions and sold the stocks that had risen by more than 80%, in addition to returning the principal of 2.5 million Hong Kong dollars, there is also a profit of 2 Hong Kong dollars million. In less than half an hour, Yang Ming's profit has exceeded 2 million Hong Kong dollars. This was really like what Yang Ming said about picking up money. Li Yufang held her son's hand excitedly and almost wanted to shout. Thinking of the past 20 years or so, she and her husband Yang Jirong had worked hard at the electric fan factory, but the profits they made in 10 years were not as much as their son's profit in the stock market in half an hour. She didn't know how to describe it. "Mommy, it's just the beginning. Between 10 a.m. and 11 a.m., I quickly sold a few more stocks. In addition to returning my principal of 3 million, I also made a profit of 2.5 million Hong Kong dollars. Before the stock market closed from 11 a.m. to 12 a.m., Oman sold several more stocks according to Yang Ming's instructions. In addition to the principal of 3 million, he also made a profit of 2.5 million, in other words, before the stock market closed at noon in the morning, in addition to returning his 8 million principal, Yang Ming also made a profit of 7.5 million, and the calculated return rate exceeded 93%. Chapter 14, Make 65 million Hong Kong dollars in the stock market. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In one morning, Yang Ming made a profit of 7 Hong Kong dollars and 50 cents million. At this time, in the eyes of Oman and Kayla, Yang Ming really existed like a god. How did Yang Ming determine the stocks to buy in advance for such a very risky short-term investment? Neither of them knew. If we say that yesterday, Oman was still a little arrogant, at this time, it is really a big blow to a gold medal trader like Oman. He just needs to buy and sell according to Yang Ming's instructions, just like a tool man. The tool man can do everything, but a gold medal trader like him before has been tested for a long time. "Mommy, it's time for us to go have lunch." Yang Ming was pushed out by Li Yufang. Today Yang Ming wanted to change his taste. When Yang Ming was pushed by Li Yufang to a nearby seafood hotel, Yang Ming had lunch here today. Yang Jirong wanted to go back to Honghu Electric Fan Company, so when he sent the mother and son here just now, the other party left first. Li Yufang pushed her son to the front desk of the seafood hotel, where the waitress had already come out to help. "Hello, Who are you? Both of you. Yang Ming and his mother Li Yufang came to the window. Before the atrophic muscles on Yang Ming's body have fully recovered, they need a lot of meat for nutritional recovery. Now Li Yufang got the menu and started ordering dishes for her son, including the steamed dragonfly, Australian lobster, Australian abalone, and so on. These are the first, there are too many to finish. The waitress took the menu and left, and Mother Li Yufang looked at her son dotingly. Not long after, the dishes ordered by Li Yufang were quickly served from the kitchen. Under normal circumstances, Yang Ming felt that it would not be done so quickly. It's obviously a big hotel. Many dishes are prepared in advance and then simply processed. Yang Ming was drinking soup there, and Li Yufang served him some fish meat. When mother and son finished eating, the time came to 12:50 noon. Li Yufang called the waiter to pay the bill. This meal costs nearly 1,000 Hong Kong dollars, mainly because these seafood are not cheap, and many of them are fresh seafood imported from Australia. The mother and son checked out and came out, returned to the central branch of Huifeng Bank again. Yang Ming entered the office where Miss Kayla and Mr. Allman were already waiting. The two of them had just had a working meal. Mr. Yang, the stock market trading has started in the afternoon. Miss Kayla said. Yang Ming nodded. He is waiting there, starting at 13:25 in the afternoon and continuing until about 1400 hours in the afternoon. Oman sold a few more stocks according to Yang Ming's instructions, returning his principal of 3 million and making a profit of about 2.5 million Hong Kong dollars, from 1400 hours to about 15:15 in the afternoon. There were several stocks left, with a total of 4 million, and a profit of 3.5 million Hong Kong dollars, at 15:30, all transactions in Yang Ming's stocks ended. This means that if you buy 15 million Hong Kong dollars in stocks today and sell them all in short-term operations, you will make a total profit of 13.5 million Hong Kong dollars, which is similar to yesterday's profit. If we were lucky yesterday, then today's profit is also over 85% return rate. In the eyes of Ms. Kayla, Mr. Lehman and others, this is definitely not luck. When Ms. Kayla and Oman faced an investor like Yang Ming, in addition to admiration, they also felt that this young Mr. Yang, who always wore sunglasses, looked very mysterious, because Yang Ming didn't want the news of his profit to spread. At this time, except for some people here at the central branch of Huifeng Bank, no one else knew about it. Otherwise the investors from outside would definitely rush in crazily. For investors, the most important piece of information is to keep it confidential and prevent leaks. Yang Ming knew that things like this were okay in the short term, but would definitely spread in the long run. Mommy, we are going back. Kayla and Oman sent Yang Ming out in person. Yang Jirong was still at the company, and Yang Ming and Li Yufang took a taxi back. That night, when Yang Jirong came back from the electric fan factory and learned that his son had made more than 10 million from the stock market today, he was really angry if he didn't know. Daddy, I told you that you and Mommy really don't have to work so hard. You can just stay at home and enjoy your life every day from now on. I'm used to it. Now that his son can make a lot of money so easily, Yang Jirong is naturally very happy. However, if they are asked to do nothing every day, just lie down and enjoy the day, I am afraid they are really not used to it. Yang Ming and his parents finished dinner, returned to the room. Azu was carefully massaging the atrophic muscles all over his body. It looks a lot better again, but I'm afraid it will still take some time to fully recover. Yang Ming finished reading the newspaper, then rest. Next up is Wednesday, January 11th, 1978, Thursday, January 12th, 1978, Friday, January 13th, 1978. Yang Ming would be pushed in a wheelchair by his mother Li Yufang every day to trade stocks at the central branch of Huifeng Bank, just like Monday and Tuesday. Each time you enter the stock market, the principal is 15 million Hong Kong dollars, but the profit fluctuates around 13 Hong Kong dollars million. Calculated this way, his first pot of gold at the racecourse was 15 million Hong Kong dollars. However, after 5 days, he made a total profit of more than 65 million Hong Kong dollars on the Hong Kong stock market. Including the principal, he now has a total net worth of 80 million Hong Kong dollars. In 1978, 80 million Hong Kong dollars was definitely a lot of money. Mr. Yang, congratulations on your return rate exceeding 85% again. In the eyes of Miss Kayla and Alman, Yang Ming is truly like a stock god. They couldn't see Yang Ming's eyes, but Yang Ming showed a smile and said, "Miss Kayla, Mr. Lehman, you have really worked hard this week. I invite you to have dinner at the beach. In addition, there are some things I want to discuss with you. You guys talk about it. Have supper." Kira and Lehman certainly wouldn't take no for an answer. When Yang Ming and Li Yufang returned to Jiahe Garden Community first, Yang Ming went to take a shower, changed a set of clothes, took Zhu with him, and took a car with Xiangjiang, who had just returned, to a high-end Western restaurant near the sea in Central. Here you can see the beautiful night view of Victoria Harbor at night. The scenery is very good and makes people feel happy. All of a sudden, when Yang Ming, Xiangjiang, his wife, and Zhu were brought inside, the waitress learned that there were still 2 guests who had not come, so she asked Yang Ming and the others to chat there first. "Peter, you should treat Miss Kayla and Mr. Lehman to dinner." Xiangjiang said. Xiangjiang already knew that his son had earned more than 10 million today. In other words, after this week, I made tens of millions. From Xiangjiang's point of view, he was already very satisfied. However, he didn't know that for Yang Ming, this was just the beginning. Around 8 p.m., Miss Kira, who had changed into work clothes, was now wearing a blue skirt, which looked even more beautiful against the backdrop of her blonde hair. As for Lehman, he was still wearing the suit, and the 2 of them came over in the car one after another. After being brought inside by the waitress, Yang Ming was already seen waving to them. Except for the maid Zhu, Kyla and Lehman did not know each other, but Yang Jirong and his wife had known each other for a long time. When they greeted each other and sat down, Yang Ming clapped his hands, and the waitress began to bring a bottle of Lafite red wine worth 20,000 to 30,000 Hong Kong dollars. This is the 1975 Lafite red wine. This is definitely not as famous as the later 1982 Lafite, however, even that is now expensive. Let's drink first, nothing else. Chapter 15 Recommending People. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Lafite in 1982 is the most famous. However, it was only 1978 at this time, which meant that there were still 4 years until 1982. Even then, not everyone can afford a bottle of 1975 Lafite that costs 20,000 Hong Kong dollars to 30,000. Cheers! Yang Ming, Yang Jirong, Li Yufang, Kayla, and Lehman picked up their wine glasses and drank half of them first. It's a little astringent, but also has a special red wine flavor. It really tastes different when you drink it. When the waitress brought the dishes that Yang Ming had just ordered one after another, the Western food tonight is very rich, and it mainly focuses on French cuisine. Sitting here, drinking red wine, eating Western food, and admiring the beautiful night view of Victoria Harbor, Yang Ming is really in a good mood. Now Kayla and Lehman thought that Yang Ming was in a wheelchair because there was something wrong with his legs or body, which was a pity. I think of Winston Churchill, the wheelchair-bound Prime Minister of Country Y, and President Roosevelt of Country M. They were all very great in the eyes of Westerners, as well as the scientist Hawking. Yang Ming naturally didn't expect Miss Kayla and Lehman to think of this. Yang Ming's English is actually very good. After all, he did a job in his previous life. In addition, he studied abroad in London for many years. Now he still speaks standard British English. In this regard, he is different from Kai. It's not a problem for Lehman to communicate directly in English. When dinner was finished, Yang Ming said, "Miss Kayla, Mr. Lehman, thank you for your help this week. This is my small intention, please accept it." Yang Ming had already taken out 2 checks from Huifeng Bank. Each one is worth 10,000 Hong Kong dollars. For Miss Kayla and Lehman, this amount of money is naturally not small, equivalent to 1 month's monthly salary for each of them. Moreover, with this week's commission, their income will be higher. "Mr. Yang, this is my job, as it should be. I already have a good commission, so I can't take any more of your money." Miss Kayla pushed away and said, she is not that kind of greedy person, although she knows that it is easy for Yang Ming to make money now. Lehman took the check, looked at it, and accepted it. "Miss Kayla, this is your hard-earned money." Miss Kayla still wanted to push away. Li Yufang asked her to take it. From this point, Yang Ming took a high look at the young blonde beauty Kira. "Daddy, Mommy, I want to go over there and have a chat with Miss Kayla alone." "No problem." Seeing Kayla accept the check, Lehman felt relieved. When Kayla stood up, straightened her skirt, and pushed Yang Ming not far away, this is the offshore of Victoria Harbour. Standing on the railing here, you can see the sloshing water below Victoria Harbour. There are also ships and cruise ships on and off Victoria Harbour. It must be said that Victoria Harbour in the 1970s was very prosperous now. Mr. Yang, your body. Kayla pushed Yang Ming's wheelchair, still curious. What do you think? Mr. Yang, don't get me wrong. I don't despise your body. In country Y, Prime Minister Churchill also used a wheelchair for many years, but he has always been one of the greatest prime ministers of country Y. There is also President Roosevelt of country M, although he has always been in a wheelchair, but he has served as president for 4 consecutive terms. In Kira's view, although they are all physically disabled and imperfect, their achievements in other areas are not comparable to those of ordinary people. Ms. Kayla, you misunderstood. I was in a car accident and became a vegetative state. I was comatose in bed for a long time. Now that I wake up, my body muscles are still atrophied. My body has not fully recovered before I need to use a wheelchair. After a while, I will be no different from a normal person. So that's it. Mr. Yang, congratulations, I didn't expect it to be like this. This time, Miss Kayla looked at Yang Ming even more differently. Miss Kayla, it's like this. Actually, I came to you because I have something to ask you to help with. You say. I need some manpower. Although I can recruit myself, it will take time. I want you to recommend some manpower for me, and these people, in addition to their ability, must not have problems with their character and professional ethics. Recommend manpower? Kayla just knew that Yang Ming had made tens of millions of Hong Kong dollars this week, and guessed that Yang Ming would not give up the opportunity to make money so easily. She did not expect that since he wanted her to recommend people. Then what do you think of my abilities? Kira asked. Of course it's not bad for Miss Kayla to be one of the account managers of Huifeng Securities Company. However, Miss Kayla is willing to leave Huifeng Bank Securities Company and work for me? I really haven't thought about this. Kayla has worked at Huifeng Securities for many years. Before that, working at Huifeng Securities was indeed the most promising job with good benefits and high salary. Because she was white, it was easier to get promoted. Now compared with Yang Ming is generous, which can be seen from the fact that the other party directly gave her a check of 10,000 for her hard work. If Mr. Yang really trusts me, of course I can recommend some manpower to you. I wonder how many people Mr. Yang needs, that she has worked in the financial industry for several years and works at Huifeng Securities Company, so she naturally has her own network of interpersonal relationships. I don't have my own company yet. The more the better. There really aren't many. You can recommend a few to me first. The most important thing is that Yang Ming doesn't have his own company yet. Yang Ming thought about his parents' Huihong Electric Fan Company. However, Huihong Electric Fan Company and the factory only have about 20 people, so they should only have one accountant, so others are naturally not suitable for him. Finally, Yang Ming thought of asking Kayla to recommend candidates to him. That Lehman is also very capable. He is a mature stock market broker and a gold medal trader. Kayla said. Miss Kayla, you should know that when you work beside me, you don't need others to think about how to invest, but mainly how to carry out what I want to do. Before that, Lehman had mainly advised investors on which stocks to buy. However, it is up to him to decide what stocks Yang Ming wants now. He doesn't need a gold medal trader. What he needs is to fully carry out his business and keep it secret to prevent his investment information from being leaked. Hearing what Yang Ming said, Kayla understood who Yang Ming was looking for. Mr. Yang, I understand, let's do this. I will think carefully about the people I recommend to you when I get back later, and we will contact you by phone then. The two of them were enjoying the breeze there. Half an hour later, the two of them had made it very clear, in the end, Kayla was not sure about joining Yang Ming's company. She still stayed at Huifeng Securities Company. Now that she is helping Yang Ming recommend those candidates, she is actually doing something for Yang Ming. Chapter 16 Establishing a Company. Buy a luxury home. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Victoria Harbor looks even more prosperous and dazzling at night. A gust of sea breeze blew in, blowing Kira's hair and long skirt. Miss Kira, let's go back. When Kayla pushed Yang Ming back to the restaurant, Lehman and Xiangjiang naturally didn't know what Yang Ming and Kayla were talking about. Young Master Yang, Mr. Yang, Mrs. Yang, thank you for the banquet. I will go back first, Lehman said. Yang Ming did not talk to Lehman, which made Lehman a little disappointed. When Lehman left alone, Kayla, Yang Ming, Xiangjiang and his wife also said goodbye and left here. Daddy, Mommy, Azu, we are going back too. When Xiangjiang, his wife and Yang Ming returned to the first floor of the community, in the living room on the first floor, Yang Ming said, Daddy, Mommy, I have two things to tell you. Peter, tell me. From the perspective of Xiangjiang and Li Yufang, their son has indeed been different since he woke up. Although Yang Ming used to be competitive, he would discuss everything with them in advance. Yang Ming seems a little different now. Daddy, Mommy, first thing, I'm going to officially set up my own company. Yang Ming had long decided to establish his own company. Xiangjiang and his wife also nodded when they heard this. From Yang Ming's profit in the stock market this week alone, it can be seen that it is really easy for Yang Ming to make money. No matter how capable I am alone, I'm afraid I can't do many things. I definitely need a team to do things for me. Peter, do you need any help? Xiangjiang asked. Now Honghu Electric Fan Company only has more than 20 employees in total. Xiangjiang knows that his son may not even look down on the electric fan factory that his couple has been working for more than 10 years. Daddy, I don't need your help with the company's affairs for the time being. I told Miss Kayla just now and asked her to help recommend some capable candidates. So that's it. Xiangjiang and his wife understood why Yang Ming and Miss Kayla were talking alone there just now. The second thing is that I want to change houses. This duplex mansion is not bad. In Xiangjiang, only 1% of the citizens have the opportunity to live in such luxury homes. However, for Yang Ming, this two-story duplex building would be very comfortable to live in if Yang Ming had no ambitions. Yang Ming is different now. In his previous life, he had lived in many villas much larger than this one. Most importantly, he needs more personal space. If I set up my own company, I will definitely meet all kinds of people at home, and I will definitely need a bigger place. Peter, isn't it good to live here? Li Yufang asked hurriedly. Mommy, I think after setting up the company, I will usually see more people, so I need a bigger place. Peter is right. He has thought about this well, so you should not interfere. Xiangjiang looked at his wife Li Yufang and said, as a businessman, of course he knows. Daddy, I really need your and Mommy's help in this regard. Really? Li Yufang said hurriedly, the children are incompetent and the parents are worried and distressed. As their children become more capable, many parents become even more worried and anxious. Why? Because they feel that their capable children are separated from themselves, which will actually make them feel lost. Daddy, Mommy, I want to change to a big villa. Then our whole family will move to a big villa. So, I want you to see where is suitable and buy it directly. The price is not an issue. Yang Ming wanted his parents to see it in person, not only to make them like it, but also to make them feel that they were still very important in their son's heart. Xiangjiang and his wife were naturally very happy when they heard this. Peter, where do you want to buy it? What size villa will you buy and what price will it cost? Li Yufang asked hurriedly. Mommy, I don't know where to buy it. As for how big a villa to buy, of course the bigger the better. We are not short of money now. Yang Ming took out a prepared check from Huifeng Bank worth 10 million. At this time, most of the luxury houses or villas in the mountains in Xiangjiang only cost a few million Hong Kong dollars, but the price of tens of millions of Hong Kong dollars is naturally different. Yang Ming gave the check to his parents, and naturally left the matter entirely to them. Xiangjiang was in a daze when he saw the check, thinking about it. I originally wanted to accumulate more wealth for my children and grandchildren, but I never imagined that my son would earn more in one day than they would earn in their lifetime. Xiangjiang felt happier when he thought that these belonged to his son. Peter, don't worry, other dads can't help you, but they can definitely do this well. Daddy, Mommy, if you want to say who loves me the most in this world, apart from you, of course there will be no third person. Yang Ming did not stay any longer. When Azu pushed him into the room, Xiangjiang and Li Yufang sat there, looking at the check, still looking excited. First, his son, who was in a vegetative state and had been in a coma for more than 3 years, woke up. Then his son won a jackpot of more than 10 million in the horse lottery. He made tens of millions in a week, and now he spent tens of millions more for them to buy a house. The Yang family's happy events really come one after another. Sir, I have to tell you that now my son is the one doing big things. Even if we can't help him, we can't hold him back. Li Yufang looked at her husband and said. You still need to remind me, I will know when my son wakes up. The two were discussing there, planning to see where to buy a luxury house in Xiangjiang. For the vast majority of people in Xiangjiang, the most important thing is feng shui, whether it is buying a house or a shop. Feng shui is especially important. You have to find a good feng shui master to look at it. Xiangjiang said. You have to look for 2. Li Yufang next to her also thought of the importance of feng shui. When Xiangjiang and his wife were discussing in the living room, Yang Ming was already in the guest room. His eyes were still looking outside. Now that there was no one else around, Yang Ming took off his pair of sunglasses. However, he had already thought very far ahead. Miss Kira returned to the high-end apartment she rented in Central. Thinking of what Yang Ming told her, Kira knew that Mr. Yang was becoming more and more difficult, and she must do this well, no matter whether I continue to work at Huifeng Bank in the future, or whether I leave Huifeng Bank and work with Mr. Yang. In Miss Kayla's view, Mr. Yang must be a very important noble person in her life. Now that the noble entrusts her with something, Miss Kira must do it well. Kayla has worked at Huifeng Bank for many years, and of course she has her own network of relationships. Yang Ming asked him to find people who not only had good abilities, but also had good character and professional ethics. On this point, Kira knew that she had to think carefully about it. When Kayla finished taking a shower, she returned to her room and looked through her little notebook. Update during the new book period. 1 chapter will be updated at midnight. 1 chapter will be updated at 10 a.m. Please support. Chapter 17 Lin Xiuzhi. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Have a night's rest. Early the next morning, Yang Ming got up. Under Aju's service, Yang Ming washed his face. When he pushed Yang Ming outside, he saw Xiangjiang already reading the newspaper on the sofa. Good morning, Daddy. Peter, morning. The father and son chatted for a while in the living room. Li Yufang took out the prepared breakfast. Yang Ming, Xiangjiang, and Li Yufang sat down to eat breakfast together. After eating breakfast, Xiangjiang and Li Yufang were ready to look at the house. Peter, Mommy and Daddy are going to see a house. They may be out all day today. Mommy, don't worry, isn't Azu here? After Xiangjiang and Li Yufang left, Zhu pushed Yang Ming back to the guest room. Azu, bring in the newspaper. Yang Ming was outside the window of the guest room, and there was sunlight shining in. At the hospital, the attending doctor and female nurse both advised him to get more sun. However, the duplex mansion still had limited conditions and he couldn't get enough sun like he did in the hospital yard. Azu went to prepare a cup of coffee for the young master and brought in the newspapers. When Yang Ming first saw the report from the overseas edition of Sing Tao Daily, it showed the situation of the stock market in Country M on Friday, U.S. stocks. Compared with the current daily trading volume in Xiangjiang, investors in U.S. stocks, in addition to investors from Country M itself, also have investors from all over the world. The daily transaction volume of funds may be dozens or even hundreds of times greater than that in Xiangjiang. Looking at the above, the newspaper showed the situation of the U.S. stock market on Friday. Yang Ming had already seen the detailed stock trading situation of the U.S. stock market on Monday. While Yang Ming was looking carefully inside the room, the sound of ringing the doorbell suddenly came from outside the door. Azu went out and opened the door. Soon, the person recognized was Miss Kira. At this time, Kira was wearing a new spring dress made in Milan, which seemed to complement her temperament. Good morning, Miss Kira. Miss Azu, good morning. Is Mr. Yang at home? Here I am. Asking Kayla to come in, it was the first time that Kayla noticed the duplex hollow mansion where Yang Ming lived. When Kayla was sitting there, Azu went into the guest room and said, "Master, that Miss Kayla is here." Yang Ming and Azu went outside and soon saw Kira wearing high heels sitting on the sofa and looking around. "Mr. Yang, you're here uninvited, sorry to bother you. I was looking for you." Yang Ming came to Kayla's side, and Kayla took out a list she had prepared last night, 15 people in total. "Mr. Yang, after careful consideration last night, I have finally decided to recommend you a list of 15 people. 10 of them are white people from country Y and 5 are local Chinese from Xiangjiang. Of course, if you feel that it is not suitable, you can do it now. Those can be crossed off the list." Kira pulled out the list: Hunter, Jason, Alva, Andy, Arnold, Badwi, Barlow, Bud, and Miss Haley and Carrie, Tang Shirlian, Li Yongfeng, Lin Xiuzhi, Wang Shan, Su Qinsheng. Kayla gave Yang Ming details about these people. "Miss Kayla, I want to set up my own company in these 2 days. You can call them now. If they are willing to come, I will give them a chance. If they are not willing, they will be crossed off the list. Otherwise, in addition, when they come over, I will have a chat with each of them individually, and then I will stay if it suits me." Kayla thought that Yang Ming could easily make tens of millions of Hong Kong dollars in Hong Kong stocks within a week. It was naturally not easy. As Yang Ming said, character and professional ethics were the most important things. "Mr. Yang, no problem." When Yang Ming returned to the guest room, Miss Kayla started to contact those people on the landline phone in the living room. Today is Saturday, however, it does not mean that you do not have to work on Saturdays. In Xiangjiang, some foreign-funded companies may not have to work overtime on Saturdays and Sundays, but many Chinese companies have to work overtime on Saturdays and Sundays. When Kayla contacted those on the list, like the 10 white people, they all had a day off and learned that Miss Kayla had recommended a new job to them. When the future prospects were better, these people agreed to come and meet them now. New boss, Tang Shirlian, Li Yongfeng, Lin Xiuzhi, Wang Shan, and Su Qinfeng had all returned to their companies to work overtime. It was their family members who received Kayla's call. However, their family members can contact the company's landline phone number where these people work. Kira knew that Yang Ming had just given them a chance, but she didn't know whether they could seize this opportunity. Hong Kong Causeway Bay Wing Lung Bank branch, Lin Xiuzhi, wearing a black professional skirt, had just arrived at the company. Today is Saturday, but the branch is still working overtime as normal, naturally to compete with other Xiangjiang banks for business. Under normal circumstances, major banks in Hong Kong, including Huifeng Bank and Zheta Bank, do not work overtime. Unless important VIP customers need something, they can contact their account managers at any time. However, in the 1960s, competition among Chinese banks in Hong Kong was fierce. Even the largest Chinese bank in Hong Kong, such as Hengsheng Bank, works normally on Saturdays and Sundays, so as to compete with foreign banks such as Huifeng Bank and Zheta Bank to steal customers and business. However, after Hengsheng Bank was acquired by Huifeng Bank, Hengsheng Bank began to become similar to Huifeng Bank. Small and medium-sized Chinese banks like Wing Lung still work normally on Saturdays and Sundays. The most important thing is that there is no overtime pay for such normal work. Lin Xiuzhi returned to her office wearing high heels and seemed to be used to it. "Aji, someone is looking for you," another female colleague in the office said after receiving the call. Lin Xiuzhi hurriedly took it and picked up the landline phone. "Aji, I am your father. Just now, a Miss Kayla who calls herself Huifeng came to you and said that she has a promising job to introduce to you. Do you want it? Huifeng Kira. A promising job? Could it be that Huifeng Bank is looking for someone new?" When Lin Xiuzhi heard this, she immediately became nervous. She first applied for a job at Huifeng, but her academic qualifications did not meet Huifeng's requirements at all, so she finally joined Wing Lung Bank. However, she had known Miss Kayla from Huifeng Securities Company for a long time. "Dad, when did Miss Kayla call?" "Just now." "Miss Kayla, did you say where to go to work?" "She told you to go see someone immediately." "I wrote down the address." Lin Xiuzhi's father read the address he had written down to his daughter. Lin Xiuzhi felt a little excited after writing it down. The most important thin is that the current job is not only complicated, has a lot of overtime, and has poor benefits, such as no overtime meals on Saturdays and Sundays. In addition, Lin Xiuzhi cannot see any hope for the future. Now, Miss Kayla from Huifeng Securities Company came to her. Maybe there was a new job position at Huifeng, please collect it. Please read it. Chapter 18 The First Batch of Employees. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Lin Xiuzhi's family is fairly well off and she can afford a landline phone at home. However, the parents saw how hard their daughter usually worked, and they also hoped that her daughter could change to a more relaxed job. When Lin Xiuzhi hung up the phone with her father and told the female colleague, she didn't ask for leave, picked up her bag and went out immediately. When they came to the street outside, Lin Xiuzhi stopped a taxi and went there according to the address given by her father. When Lin Xiuzhi came to Jiahe Garden Community in Central, Lin Xiuzhi got out of the car, identified herself, and signed with the security guard at the door before she could enter. Soon, Lin Xiuzhi took the elevator to the room number. It should be here, right? Lin Xiuzhi rang the doorbell outside. Soon, Azu came out and opened the door. While Lin Xiuzhi was still curious, she had already seen Miss Kayla. Miss Kayla, are there any new jobs at Huifeng? Lin Xiuzhi asked hurriedly. Xiuzhi, don't worry yet. Kayla watched Lin Xiuzhi hurried over, fearing that the other party would also rush over as soon as she received the call. Soon, Lin Xiuzhi understood that it was not Huifeng who was recruiting, but a new company, and the new boss seemed to have more prospects than Huifeng. Miss Kayla, where is the boss? Right inside. Kayla took Lin Xiuzhi to the guest room. Lin Xiuzhi saw a young man sitting in a wheelchair reading a newspaper. The young man was wearing white trousers and a stylish black jacket. His back was turned to her and she could not see the young man's face clearly. However, the way the other party was sitting in a wheelchair reading a newspaper attracted Lin Xiuzhi at first sight. Mr. Yang, the first candidate I recommended is here. Ming put down the newspaper and saw the appearance of a young woman in her 20s. From the look on her face, she might have rushed over anxiously. Hello, Mr. Yang, my name is Lin Xiuzhi. Ming nodded. Ms. Lin, I have some questions I want to ask you alone. Kira also went outside. When Lin Xiuzhi was in the guest room, she first saw the young Mr. Yang from the front. He looked really young. This was her first impression. When she saw Ming sitting in a wheelchair, she didn't know why she felt it was a pity. Ming didn't explain much. Since Lin Xiuzhi was personally recommended by Kayla and was the first one to come over, it means that Lin Xiuzhi's abilities are perfect in all aspects. Ms. Lin, where do you work now? Mr. Yang, I now work at the Wing Lung Bank branch in Causeway Bay, mainly doing financial accounting work. How much is the salary? What are the benefits? The salary is about 3,000 Hong Kong dollars per month, and there are occasional benefits, but not much. To say that the current per capita income in Hong Kong is a monthly salary of 2,000 Hong Kong dollars. In fact, this is just an average figure. Many ordinary people may not have much income, and some may only have a monthly salary of more than HK$1,000. Why is the average monthly salary as high as 2,000? This is an average number. Lin Xiuzhi's monthly salary at Wing Lung Bank is 3,000, which is naturally neither much nor very little. It is more than enough to support herself. Then why do you want to change jobs? The main reason is that the income from that job is not proportional to the effort. There is no overtime pay for working overtime on Saturdays and Sundays, and there is no hope for the future. At first, I wanted to apply for a job at Huifeng, but Huifeng rarely hires Chinese people. I didn't even have a chance to join Huifeng. Miss Kayla called my home just now, and when my father informed me again, I thought Huifeng had a new position. What Lin Xiuzhi said is really common in Xiangjiang. Although Hong Kong's finance gradually developed after the 1970s, it became one of the three major financial cities in the world. However, core executive positions in Hong Kong financial institutions, including foreign-owned banks, are monopolized by white elites. There are not many job opportunities for Chinese people, or even Chinese elites. It was not until the 1980s that Xiangjiang gradually became a world dominated by Chinese capital, and there were more and more opportunities for the Chinese elite in Xiangjiang. Yang Ming also knew Lin Xiuzhi's thoughts very well. "Ms. Lin, I can tell you that I don't have a company yet." Don't have a company yet? Lin Xiuzhi was a little surprised when she heard this. "However, my company will not lose to Huifeng in the future. If you think you can join, then I will ask you some more questions. If you feel unwilling, that's okay, I will give you the fare back." "Mr. Yang, don't you know what your company does?" Lin Xiuzhi certainly didn't want to give up such an opportunity. When Lin Xiuzhi came out of the guest room, she was determined that no matter what, she didn't want to give up such a good opportunity. Soon, other candidates recommended by Kayla arrived by car from all over Xiangjiang. Kayla made it very clear on the phone that such an opportunity is very rare. If you don't seize it, you won't have such a good opportunity next time. Not long after Lin Xiuzhi arrived, Arnold, a white man, was the second one to arrive. He lived near Central. He didn't go to work today, and while he was still resting, he suddenly received a call from Kayla. He quickly got up to wash up, change clothes, and sprayed on perfume, and then took a car and rushed to the garden community that Kayla mentioned. While Yang Ming and Lin Xiuzhi were talking in the guest room, Kira and Arnold were talking in the living room. Of course, when Lin Xiuzhi came out, Arnold was the second to go in. As soon as Arnold came in, Yang Ming smelled the pungent perfume emanating from Arnold. Arnold is a white man in his 20s, however, Europeans, Americans, and even black people like to spray perfume on their bodies. Yang Ming had already learned this in his previous life. One of the big reasons why blacks and Europeans and Americans are like that is because most of them sweat easily, and most of them have body odor. In this regard, the difference between Asians, Europeans, Americans, and blacks is that some Asians also have body odor, but not as much as Europeans and Americans. "Hello, Mr. Yang, my name is Anoa, and my Chinese name is Li Noa. My English name is Peter." Yang Ming was sitting in a wheelchair, and he and Arnold also began to get to know each other briefly. When other white people and Chinese people like Tang Shilian came over, Yang Ming would briefly chat with them alone. Yang Ming is young, but his knowledge is enough to impress these people. Originally, Yang Ming gave them a chance. After all, he hadn't established a company yet. If he didn't want to, he could leave on his own and even give them the round-trip fare. Not surprisingly, all of the 15 people recommended by Kira stayed. "Since you are all willing to stay, from today on, you will be the first batch of employees of our company. Please collect it. Please read it." Chapter 19 Imperial Company. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Witnessed by Miss Kayla, the account manager of Huifeng Securities Company, and Azu, the Yang family's maid. Lin Xiuzhi and Arnold will become the first employees of Yang Ming Company. At this time, Yang Ming was sitting in a wheelchair, with Lin Xiuzhi and others beside him. On Saturdays and Sundays, the company cannot be registered, but you must find a suitable office space during these 2 days. And on Monday, you will all officially go to work. On Saturdays and Sundays, the company registration department does not work, so registration cannot be done. Like company offices, you can find them in advance. "Mr. Yang, if you want to rent an office building, I have friends in this field who can introduce it to you." Kayla really knows a lot of people in this field. There are many office buildings and high-rise buildings such as Central Hong Kong, Kowloon and even Victoria Harbor. "Miss Kayla, I'll leave this matter to you, Lin Xiuzhi, and Tang Shilian." Kira rolled her eyes at Yang Ming. She is not Yang Ming's employee, however, she was happy to do it for Yang Ming. She knew very well that Yang Ming could make more than 60 million yuan in profit within a week, so it must have just begun. As for other people, including those who used to work, whether they should resign or not, you should handle it as soon as possible. "Yes, boss." When Yang Ming announced that the meeting was over, the others dispersed and left first. Now only Yang Ming, Kayla, Lin Xiuzhi, and Tang Shilian are left. This is a 5 million check as a company operating expense, including renting office space and other expenses. Lin Xiuzhi first served as my assistant secretary, and Tang Shilian served as the company's financial director. "Boss, what is the name of our company?" Although registration cannot be done on Saturdays and Sundays, the company must be registered on the following Monday. Empire. Our company is called Imperial Corporation. Yang Ming's eyes seem to suddenly become far-reaching. He wants to create a huge business empire in this era. Tang Shilian and Lin Xiuzhi wrote it down. Lin Xiuzhi got the check and prepared to leave with Kayla. Miss Kira, I will treat you to dinner after I finish this matter. After the three people left, Yang Ming was in a heavy mood. Although he had started a business in his previous life and was considered very successful, no matter how much money he made in his previous life, it would never see the light of day. It's different now. He wants to create a business empire that is truly his own. Now is his first step. Azu sent Miss Kayla and the others away, and when he came back he said, Master, Miss Kayla and the others have left. Yang Ming nodded. Originally, Yang Ming wanted the duplex mansion to be used as a temporary company office, with more than 200 square meters upstairs and downstairs, which was enough. However, this is a residential area after all. If it is used for offices, it will definitely affect other people. It is still necessary to find a suitable office location. Although Kayla has not joined Yang Ming's company yet, now that Kayla is willing to help Yang Ming do things, it will be much easier to do many things. Yang Ming returned to his room. At this time, he was already sorting out the stocks on the Country M exchange. In addition, there are stocks on the exchange in Country Y. Like Country M and Country Y, they both have multiple exchanges. However, the New York Stock Exchange and the London Stock Exchange are now the world's top exchanges. During the trading period from Monday to Friday, the New York Stock Exchange's daily trading volume is at least dozens or even hundreds of times that of the Hong Kong Exchange. As for the London Stock Exchange, its scale is not as large as that of the New York Stock Exchange, but its trading scale is 10 times or even more than 10 times that of the New York Stock Exchange. The larger the transactions on these exchanges, the less risky his short-term investments are. The most important thing is that the newspapers he sees now about European and American stocks are just like last week. He can predict in advance which European and American stocks will rise on Monday in the newspapers and how much they will rise. Of course, what Yang Ming needs most now is funds. Only huge funds can support him to do what he wants to do next. Yang Ming is in the guest room. Azu looked at the young master quietly. Around 4 p.m. The landline phone in the living room rang. At first, Azu thought it was Yang Jirong and his wife calling back. Unexpectedly, it was Miss Lin Xiuzhi who called. Because of Miss Kayla's introduction, there shouldn't be any need to look around. Kayla first returned to the securities company's office and immediately called to find out where there were suitable office buildings for rent. Soon, I learned that there were suitable floors of office space for rent in the Federal Building. The Federal Building, also called the Wing On Building, was built by Federal Real Estate, a subsidiary of Wheelock, one of the four major foreign trade companies. The name of the building comes from the Wing On department store. However, the current Wing On building has nothing to do with the Wing On group. The Federal Building was still the tallest building in Hong Kong in the mid-1960s, at nearly 100 meters. However, it has long been replaced by many high-rise buildings in Hong Kong. In addition to the Federal Building, many office buildings in the Central District are now empty. Kayla found out over the phone. Then I took Lin Xiuzhi and Tang Shilian to watch. In the end, they found that the Federal Building is quite nice. It is located in the Central District, which is central. In addition, the entire floor and offices are basically dominated by financial institutions. The environment here is very good in all aspects. Each floor of the office building is 11,000 square feet, which is about 1,000 square meters. The entire floor is actually quite good for office use. However, Xiangjiang office buildings are now considered one of the most expensive in Asia. Now the annual rent here in the Federal Building is 300 Hong Kong dollars per square foot. Calculated, it costs almost 3.3 million Hong Kong dollars, which is about 270,000 Hong Kong dollars a month. If you include water and electricity bills, it should be much higher. In the late 1970s, the rent for this office building was really not low. Lin Xiuzhi and Tang Shilian were very satisfied after seeing it. After the two discussed with Kira, they thought they could rent it here. However, they still have to call their boss to make a decision. Boss, we saw a suitable office building here in the Federal Building, but the rent is a bit expensive. Do you want to rent it? Lin Xiuzhi asked on the other side of the phone. How much is the rent? Based on 11,000 square feet per floor, the annual rent is about 3.3 million Hong Kong dollars. It is impossible to rent an office building like this to you for 1 or 2 months, but for at least half a year or even a year. Yang Ming was not surprised at all when he heard this. Commercial real estate in Xiangjiang is still on the rise, and office rents in the central district of Xiangjiang should be the highest in Asia. Yang Ming hasn't seen this little money yet. Lin Xiuzhi and Tang Shilian confirmed that there was no problem with Yang Ming, and they immediately negotiated with Federal Real Estate, the lessor of the federal building. After all, the move-in date is as early as Monday. It will be taken care of in these 2 days. The lessor of the federal building had no problem and signed immediately with Lin Xiuzhi, Tang Shilian and others. It would have been best to have a company seal, but now the company has not been officially registered. With the lessor getting the deposit and Kayla acting as the middleman, it wasn't a problem. Soon, the successful signing of the contract meant that Yang Ming's Empire Group office would be located on the 29th floor of the federal building. The highest building here is 31 floors, because there were not many floors left for rent. I finally selected this floor. Chapter 20 Repulse Bay Mid-Level Villa. You are listening at novelfull.audio. It was around 8 o'clock that night. Xiangjiang and his wife just came back after going out to look at houses for a day. The couple did not feel tired at all, but felt very excited. Back in the living room, Li Yufang shouted, "Peter, have you eaten?" "Mommy, not yet. I'm waiting for you to come back for dinner." Zhu had already gone shopping for groceries and was ready to wait for Xiangjiang and his wife to come back. Unexpectedly, Xiangjiang and his wife had been out all day. "Peter, do you know where we are looking at houses today?" No matter what era, the Chinese are still very persistent in real estate. The Chinese in Xiangjiang are like that. As long as they have money, they invest in real estate. The more, the better. Xiangjiang and his wife were the same today. They had been out and about all day, but they didn't seem tired at all. "We followed 2 feng shui masters to visit Deep Water Bay and Repulse Bay for a day." Deep Water Bay and Repulse Bay? Yang Ming thought his parents were going to see luxury houses near Taiping Mountain. As far as the early days of Xiangjiang are concerned, the earliest mid-level mansions in Xiangjiang were always from the Tapingshan area. Even in the early days of Xiangjiang and Tapingshan, Chinese people could not buy the villas on the mountainside, even if they had money, because the white people did not allow the Chinese to live there. It was not until later that the luxury houses in Tapingshan were liberalized, and gradually a small number of Chinese wealthy people purchased luxury houses in the Tapingshan area. The Taiping Mountain area itself is the best feng shui area in Hong Kong. According to feng shui theory, Tapingshan is the leader of Xiangjiang. The white people of Country Y rely on the feng shui here to monopolize everything in Xiangjiang, including large and small foreign companies in Xiangjiang. After the 1960s, the Chinese capital in Xiangjiang gradually rose, and the foreign companies in Xiangjiang gradually declined. From a feng shui perspective, feng shui is not static, it takes turns and starts to move to other places, so much so that luxury houses began to bloom everywhere in Xiangjiang. In addition to the luxury homes in Kadoorie Hill, after the 1960s, there began to be more luxury homes in Deep Water Bay and even mid-level homes in Repulse Bay. The Kadoorie family in Hong Kong also moved from Kadoorie Hill to Deep Water Bay. The representatives of Xiangjiang Chinese capital, the Bao Yugang family and Li Jiacheng, have already bought and lived in mid-level mansions in Deep Water Bay and other places on the recommendation of Mr. Feng Shui. However, Deep Water Bay and Repulse Bay are located on the back of Hong Kong Island. Xiangjiang Central District is to the north of Xiangjiang. Originally, the Tapingshan area was closer to Xiangjiang Central District. Even now, the luxury houses in the Tapingshan area have been liberalized, allowing wealthy Chinese except white people to buy them. For the wealthy Chinese who particularly believe in feng shui, they have always believed that feng shui will take turns. They have already placed their purchased luxury homes in Deep Water Bay and Repulse Bay. From the 1960s to the late 1970s, for a whole decade, there have been more and more mid-level villas in Deep Water Bay and Repulse Bay, and housing prices have become more and more expensive. At first, Xiangjiang and his wife wanted to see the Victoria Peak Villa. In addition to being a traditional villa, the most important thing is that you can enjoy the high-rise buildings in central Hong Kong and even the scenery of Victoria Harbour, especially the beautiful night view of Victoria Harbour. Who doesn't like it? When the couple asked two well-known feng shui masters in Central District, Xiangjiang, they unanimously rejected it because the feng shui in the Tapingshan area had actually declined. You can still get rich by living in this area. If you want to get richer or be rich for 3 generations, it will be difficult. I still recommend Yang Jirong and his wife to go to Deepwater Bay or Repulse Bay to look at mid-level villas. The couple also believed in feng shui metaphysics very much. Without any hesitation, they drove with them to Deepwater Bay to have a look. They looked at almost a dozen villas in the middle of the mountain there from morning to afternoon. It ranges from several million Hong Kong dollars to tens of millions of Hong Kong dollars per set. Peter, the two feng shui masters accompanied us to visit Deepwater Bay and Repulse Bay. They said that the feng shui here will get better and better, and will even replace the Victoria Peak area and become the richest area in Hong Kong. At this point, Yang Ming felt that the two feng shui masters had made a good prediction. Historically, the Baoyugang family swallowed up Wharf, the largest subsidiary of Jardine Matheson, Wheelock Company, one of the 4 largest foreign banks in Hong Kong, and most of the shares of the foreign bank Zada Bank. In addition, the Li Jiaqing family swallowed up Hutchison Whampoa, one of the 4 major foreign companies, and became the richest family in Hong Kong in one fell swoop. In addition, the other 4 major Chinese families in Hong Kong, such as the Jing family, the Li Xiuzhi family, etc., are basically Chinese-owned, and these families basically have their own mid-level villas in Deepwater Bay and Repulse Bay. On the contrary, most of the foreign firms, with the exception of Swire Pacific and the Kadoorie family, have basically been replaced by Chinese capital. Of course, is this really related to feng shui? Yang Ming didn't know. He thought that he had come to this world inexplicably by seizing his body, and he would rather believe that he existed than not. Daddy, Mommy, what are you looking at? We saw a large villa with an interior floor area of more than 30,000 square feet in Repulse Bay, and we were very satisfied. Moreover, after two feng shui masters looked at the feng shui there, they thought that the feng shui of this villa should be the best in that area. Yes, it is recommended that we buy it immediately, otherwise, it will be snatched away by others later. Mommy, you won't be fooled, right? Of course not. Those two feng shui people have no interest in the original homeowners. They were invited by us. However, they took a compass and looked at it clearly, and they felt that the feng shui of that villa was the best. So, we kept talking with the owner, and by about 7 o'clock in the evening, we finally bought it for 9.88 million Hong Kong dollars. In the late 1970s, spending nearly tens of millions to buy a villa was really not cheap. Yang Ming thought of the office building currently rented by Empire Group in the Federal Building. The annual rent for one floor of 11,000 square feet was 3 Hong Kong dollars million, so calculated this way, it is not very expensive. The original owner will move out tomorrow, and we can move there as soon as the day after tomorrow. Li Yufang said. Mommy, leave this matter to you and Daddy. Yang Ming is not worried at all about buying a house. That villa cost tens of millions of Hong Kong dollars, but to Yang Ming, it was nothing. Now the two feng shui masters say that feng shui is the best there. According to Yang Ming's understanding of the future, Repulse Bay and Deepwater Bay are indeed the places where the largest number of wealthy people will gather in Hong Kong in the future. Yang Ming also likes it there. As for the villas in the Tapingshan area, it's not that they are bad. On the contrary, Yang Ming knew that the environment and scenery in that area should be very good, and he could look at the high-rise buildings in central Hong Kong and the scenery of Victoria Harbour at any time, especially at night. The night view of Victoria Harbour is known as one of the 3 most beautiful night views in the world. Yang Ming knew that it was good to watch it once in a while, but if he watched it every day, it would be just like that. What those feng shui masters failed to mention is that if the high-rise buildings in Victoria Harbour and central Hong Kong turn on their lights at night, this is a form of light pollution. It is definitely not good if you are exposed to this kind of light for a long time. On the contrary, this situation will not happen if you live in Repulse Bay or Deepwater Bay. Please collect it. Please read it. Please vote for recommendation.